Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see you today. My name is Dustin Cormier. Welcome to another episode of How to Rock Astrology. In today's episode, we are going to be discussing what it's like when you have Natal Venus in the sign of Capricorn. Now, for those of you who know me, I am a tropical Vedic astrologer. And I generally abide by what is given in Vedic astrology. But what I will say is, of course, I always invite you to hang out with me and check out how this resonates, because they're all different cultures and traditions abide by the same ideal consciousness. I think the Vedic thing is just going to give more data to what it means to have Venus in Capricorn. We're going to talk about it from my perspective, and then I'm going to break out some books in order to kind of convey this energy from a little bit from a Western perspective, and as well just to unfold the general personality of the consciousness with Venus and Capricorn. There is so much more to each planet than just its sign placement. I've been trying to get away from cookbooky, this planet in this sign means this, because there's so much being to say about a planet in its position, including aspects, including the rising sign in itself. Each rising sign is going to take Venus to be a different thing, because each rising sign has Venus with its signs ruling different houses. A Leo rising with Venus in Capricorn in generally the 6th house is going to be something very different from an Aquarius with Venus in Capricorn in the 12th house, especially because Venus rules Libra, which is the 9th house, as well as Taurus, which is the 4th house for Aquarius rising. So not only that, but Venus can have aspects to its friends, or just general aspects from benefics, or it can be squashed. It can be conjunct Saturn. Any planet that's conjunct Saturn has difficulty, as Vedic astrology describes. So there's so many more ways to convey the general energy of a planet, but a planet in its sign does have quantifiable positive or negative attributes. In this episode, I'm basically conveying that Venus in Capricorn is a good placement for Venus. It's 2 signs away from its exaltation point in Pisces. And as well, Venus is in an earthy sign of Saturn here. It's ruled by Saturn. And Venus does it well in any earth and air sign. My logic for this is that Venus's friends are Saturn and Mercury. You'll notice that Venus rules Taurus and Libra, earth and air. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, earth and air. Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn, it's air and earth. So all 3 of these planets generally tend to be friends. And it makes sense that a planet's agency does better when it's in the sign of a natural friend. In Vedic astrology, we take the friendships of planets very seriously. In fact, a trine from another planet is not necessarily good or bad in its essence, like it is in Western astrology. It's about the friendship of those planets that will convey whether that aspect is a good thing or not. Now, Venus here is the receptive planet that Venus is, and it is in a sign that is conducive to what Venus is trying to do, strictly because Saturn is a friend to Venus. And I'm going to talk about how Venus is delighted in the sign of a friend here. But first, I kind of want to break down a little bit about what Venus is from my perspective. I've got a few notes here just to kind of give it short thrift. Essentially, Venus and the moon share the provenance of the Svadhisthana chakra, the water chakra. It's the 2nd chakra. And this is according to one cosmic schema given by Vedic astrologers. This is one idea, and there's many different ways to convey the chakras. Even the Western folks say that the chakras are conveyed in a different way, But this is one way that's given by Ernst Wilhelm in his Graha Sutras, where the first 5 chakras are conveyed by the Panchatattvas, and then the 6th chakra is conveyed by the sun and the moon, the Ajna chakra. Now, Venus and the moon rule the water chakra, and both of these need to work together to give us the experience of tapping into the energy field of love and support and abundance that exists all around us. And it's by applying mutual intrinsic natural value to each other. By having a good Venus and a good moon, you will typically do well, you will enjoy and reciprocate your enjoyment moving through things, certain things with other people. The sun is about what you do from 9 to 5. The moon and Venus are what you do when you get home. It's after you get home, you're hanging out with your loved ones, and what is your natural, comfortable vibe of that you emit with your loved ones. Venus, whereas the moon is kind of about our needs, Venus wants to be appreciated, and it's this appreciation that gives us satisfaction. Venus wants to be appreciated for what it's doing in its sign and in its house and with whatever else it's entangled with. So Venus in Capricorn essentially wants to be appreciated for the practical functionality that it has, mixed with Capricorn Earth, cardinal Earth. That's what Capricorn's kind of all about. So Venus in Capricorn wants to be appreciated for its ability to be earthy, to understand in a patterned way what the other partner wants, anticipating what the other partner wants, while also anticipating what our own bliss nature wants. And it feels when these two, such a person can feel when my biological rhythms match with your biological rhythms of rhythmic, sentimental enjoyment. We all need this water Svadhisthana chakra. It's what allows us to walk the path of our sun without, it's like there's a mountain we all want to walk in our lives, our ambitions, our career, of what we want to do with our lives through the sun. The water chakra is what sustains us. We drink the water in order to sustain ourselves on the path of what our soul is here to do. And the water chakra is also supposed to douse the fire chakra so that we aren't just only working on what we do. We aren't only working on our career. We also have a sentimental, rich life experience at home. And Venus in Capricorn gets this essentially through Capricorn, through the ways of Capricorn. And Venus is about mutual benefit. So we both attract and project our Venus. Venus in Capricorn projects the consciousness of practicality, of listening to the needs of the partner, the psychological needs, the sexual needs. Really, it's a very Saturnian felt thing, and it's very similar to Venus in Aquarius in this way. Although Venus in Capricorn feels more and is more active and serviceful about this. It works hard to be appreciated for effort, for doing things for the other person and anticipating the other person's wants. And by doing so, if Venus is well placed, if it's got proper aspects, and if it's generally healthy in the chart, then it will project a functional type of lover that's also a passionate one and a deeply passionate one, who kind of serves first and asks for things second. And such a person also expects that from their partner. Venus in Capricorn wants somebody who isn't too needy, so the two can be kind of independent and meet in a place of mutual independence. But, even though we know we don't need each other per se, there is still a deep desire to be needed in a Saturnian way. to be needed for the things that we do. It's an ironic two-way situation. You want to be appreciated for being there for your partner, but you don't want your partner to be so emotionally needy that you are doing it out of their unconscious reactive mechanism. How can they appreciate what you do for them if it's like, you know, we know that Venus and Capricorn wants to be appreciated for the things it does for people, right? So if you attract a partner who expects you to be their mother, and they leave their dishes out on the counter, and they say, yeah, I appreciate it if you clean that up, and then they go to work and they don't, you know, if that's the love language they're expecting out of you, it's not, like, that's something they could do themselves. And this is not something that Venus and Capricorn wants. That's not practical and functional at a certain level. You would really rather be someone who holds your emotions back like kind of an elastic band and supports your partner when they're having a hard emotional experience. And you roll your shoulders. The Venus in Capricorn rolls their shoulders back and can sit with the consciousness of a lover who's having difficult emotional experience. And Venus in Capricorn will say, okay, I can feel that you're having these emotions, and I feel for you. Now, let's think about what's going on here. And sometimes it's like Saturn is a primal planet. So the Venus in Capricorn is happy just sitting and letting the partner just gush with emotions. Part of this is because Venus is close to Pisces. So this is a Venus that is moving towards its exaltation point, and it doesn't necessarily look for expected fantastic ideas of the type of lover that it wants before merging with a person. It actually, Venus wants to be functionally practical and to have a functional connection at the psyche level with whoever they're with. And through that, it's a hands-on experience that Venus gets with each partner, which they feel very deeply early on, whether the partner they're with at any point is ultimately good for them or whether the things that the partner is asking from them are not in alignment with your soul, with your joy. Venus in Capricorn finds this out early because they want just a close connection with somebody early that they can just get to develop a deep, long experience. This tends to be a long, committed relationship type of personality, at least based on the Venus. Remember, there are so many things that could make a person have different energies as they convey this, you know. Even someone with Venus and Capricorn could be a polyamorous lover. They could be asexual. They could be someone who never wants to get married or really have a long-term committed relationship. But each interaction that they have, they will seek for it to be deep and to get the most out of it, to be with a familiar lover. They want that familiarity. And so in order for them to develop that familiarity, they're very aware of what works, and they feel it very deeply because Venus is a feeling planet. Venus here is delighted by its friend Saturn, which means that it feels in a deep way what works and what doesn't with any partner, and they resonate and remember it in that sort of Capricorn way. You know, in Vedic astrology, sometimes Capricorn is conveyed as an elephant, and an elephant never forgets. Is sort of the energy here. Venus in Capricorn feels very deeply with anything that happens, and this can help you, you know, especially if you've got an ill moon, if you've got Scorpio moon, or if your moon is, for whatever reason, if it's with Saturn, it's debilitated in any way. The moon is typically what connects us to people for like the deeper soul purpose. But someone with a very ill moon might have difficulty connecting with people. Venus in Capricorn can kind of save that because it will it has an instinct to reflect whatever it feels in negative ways and positive ways, which is very useful in a relationship. If a partner is doing something that, or, you know, if you're doing something that the partner doesn't like, your partner will tell you, and you'll remember moments when your partner has bugged you and you've asked them to stop and they did, and you feel how good it is to be listened to and communicated with, because this is Venus sharing, equalizing communication, right? So Venus in Capricorn wants to, you know, it feels and remembers that reciprocation. And if you have an ill moon, the Venus in Capricorn will instinctively cause you, even though when you have an ill moon, like, it makes you not care that much about relationships and about being supported, even though it's important for all of us, really. But some people are loners, and they, you know, not in a bad sense. Some people just have an ill moon and they don't necessarily feel like it's that important. But having Venus in Capricorn at least makes it so that whenever you engage with anybody, if somebody does something bad in the relationship that you don't like, you'll remember it, and you'll right away, you'll say, I just got to let you know, stop the presses. This attitude or approach to this is not working for me, and we have to change it, or else I'm going to cut this off. That Venus in Capricorn is that kind of realness. But on the same shtick, on the same hand, you know, you go out to a bar and you meet somebody and they say, hey, you know, like, I'd like to take you out for a movie, you know, and you go, okay, cool, sure. And then they say, you know, what do you like? They ask you what you like, and you're like, I was thinking about going to this movie. And they say, great, let's do it. Let's go and do that. So then you go out and you feel good that they asked you what you wanted to watch, what you think would be cool. So the next time you call them next weekend and you want to hang out with them again, you have the instinct to do what they did. You know, you asked me what movie I liked last time. So now what would you like to watch? This is the nature of Saturn, the earthy memory of Saturn, instinctively reflecting what's ill and making it loud, but also what's positive and making it loud. And that's exactly what Venus needs, abiding in the reality. Ultimately, again, it all comes down at some level to what your Venus placement is. And even if your Venus and Moon are well placed, being in relationships it takes effort and it takes work. And everybody needs to apply, in my opinion, meditation to be able to remove yourself from your compulsive nature in order to see how to be a reflective and conscientious lover to anybody that you're with. So Venus is delighted by its friend Saturn here. This gives fulfillment by only investing in love that is sure to bring functional mutual benefit in relationship. The person may experience delays in love. Thus, when something finally aligns and it fits, they're happy for every drop of bliss. When something finally does functionally come together, they are purposefully allowing that nut to gestate. They're allowing their desire to have the experience. I want it really bad, but I'm going to wait to really, before it really attaching to someone, I want to get the right one. Thankfully, this Venus is close to Pisces, so that's not to say that you're not going to date. You're going to try the pie before you buy, which is kind of good for Venus. This is what Venus and Pisces, being exalted, kind of conveys, is that you don't want to just Venus and Virgo idealizes its perfect lover, never tries anything on until it finds someone that they think might work, and then they try them on, and then they find that there's a gap in their idea of what they expected. Venus and Pisces works the opposite. It feels what works in each person, moves into those people, and it can hold the tension. It doesn't connect with them deeply until they find that there are functional reasons and practical reasons why it would work out. Venus and Capricorn's a little bit more pulled back, though. They are a little bit more reserved. But when they finally land it, they are appreciative of the love that they get. And this is partly because Saturn is delighting it. It's even just psychedelic to think about how Venus is served by Saturn in this way. Kind of astrology sometimes teaches us about the planets just by learning about these things, about the planet, about Venus being delighted by Saturn, right? These people are easy to get along with because they hold the memory of good and bad moments in relationship with others. So they're mature and they listen to each other's needs in order for the other person to reciprocate that. So these are my own kind of personal notes on Capricorn Venus. Now that I've kind of gone through my own shtick about the nature of this combination, let's read a little bit about what Western astrology says about Venus and Capricorn. This is coming from Stephen Arroyo's Chart Interpretation Handbook, and we are going to talk a little bit here about Venus in the sign of Capricorn. Interpretive guidelines for Venus and Capricorn. Note that when we read Venus in the signs, what we read is that the sign position of Venus is how one expresses affection, feels appreciated, and gives of self. Venus in Capricorn expresses affection cautiously, seriously, dutifully, and mechanically in order to see the pattern that builds in their own love nature. Really. They're scientific. You know, it's like, I'm not fully done with the experiment yet. You know, they try out a personality with one person and they're reserved and kind of cautious of how much they put out there, but they put some things out there to experiment with it. And they'll keep it trying that one personality arc out before they let it go, because it feels like they haven't fully chewed on it in order to see if it makes them happy or not. Venus and Capricorn people find that their pleasure and love needs can be inhibited by fearful, suspicious attitudes or an aloof and impersonal approach. They need to be sure of commitment from another person before giving of their deeper emotions. They're capable of loyalty and of facing the work and responsibilities required to have a deep, meaningful bond in relationship. They tend to really go through all that before they fully let go in the relationship, which is, again, the Saturn delighting Venus. Even though it sounds like a difficult thing, this is what the world needs to know about the nature of Venus. So that it's more than just a flitty, ephemeral, thirst-quenching. You know, you drink the mud and all you end up doing is waking up in a daze. The pure water requires the filtration of conscious effort with Venus in particular. Their social and love urge is colored by perseverance, ambition, conservatism, and a concern for their reputation, status. At some level, this is a part of what Venus in Capricorn seeks to move through. How is this person going to reflect on who I am, and are they going to actually progress me through the culture that I'm living within? It's not necessarily superficial, but it's not as pure as Venus in Pisces per se. But it is, we can see how this does lend truth to the biological, material nature of getting in touch with someone and relating with someone. There's a need for self-control and emotional reserve that can hamper the development of close relationships. It would be good for anyone with Venus and Capricorn at some level to express and communicate their feeling of this reserve. And that is to say that any lover that's good for you will probably have earthy or air placements for them to just speak to you and just say, you know, I can feel that you have a little bit of reserve. You're cautious in love, and I appreciate it, and I accept it. Probably be a nice and somewhat important thing for you to hear from a potential lover. Now, we've been kind of running with some different ideas on this sign. Let's finally end it here with Erotic Astrology by Phylis Vega to talk a little bit about Venus in Capricorn from a sort of more playful, romantic dimension of personality. This is Venus in Capricorn, the erotic nature. Venusian goats are proud, dependable, loyal, careful, and controlled. Your romantic feelings can be very strong on the inside, yet outwardly, you respond with reserve and caution when it comes to expressing your emotions. There's a deep inner desire to connect. And that's why part of the reason why this Venus is good is they build a tension of wanting internally to have the water because they're gushing with the water in love and compassion in a way, because this Venus is close to Pisces and it's in an it's delighted by Saturn. It wants to do the water thing, which is good for the water chakra. But they do respond with reserve, which is a tough tension at some level, but it's ultimately not a bad thing. Traditional, practical, and cautious. You rarely let your heart rule your head, and since you're not likely to fall head over heels, your approach to a long-term union is more pragmatic than sentimental, at least at first. However, what you lack in sweet talk, you make up for in loyalty and fidelity and clear communication and intention and communication of intention. Duty conscious and reliable. You don't shirk your responsibilities, and you show your love by taking care of your loved ones. You generally project an aura of competency, if not aloofness. And your cool-headed behavior is extremely attractive. It's at a Venus level. The Venus in everybody is attracted to how cool this person comes off. It's like they're not too excited and they're not going to get revved up. You almost want to, everybody wants to tease and excite the Venus in Capricorn, and they're like, nice try. Keep trying. Come on, you might get there eventually, which is juicy. I've known some Venus in Caps in my life, and that's a vibe. You admire hardworking, resourceful people like yourself, and you want a life partner that you can count on and be proud of. It certainly doesn't hurt if he or she or they is good-looking, prosperous, and accomplished. You are a realist, so you're not expecting perfection, just someone who is perfect for you. Moreover, you're willing to wait for as long as it takes to find your Mr. or Mrs. Right. And it's a beautiful energy to behold when Venus in Capricorn finds and appreciates somebody who they finally get. Because again, Saturn has been pulling that elastic snap backwards for a long time before it finally releases. Because there's a lot of passion inside this person. And ultimately, it needs to work out on all levels. But keep in mind that Venus in Capricorn has this way, Venus gives to the sign of Capricorn as much as Capricorn gives to the planet Venus. Venus being in Capricorn lends water to everybody so that everybody can appreciate what good there is in perfecting one's life, one's quality of life, and one's personality, one's job, all these things, So this person has the ability to find a lover who they ultimately love, and they will encourage them to clean up their act, to dress like that, in a way that befits the status that you mutually convey with your partner, the lifestyle that you mutually convey with your partner. So this is to say that just because this, a lot of these texts will say Venus in Capricorn wants someone who's of status or who has materialism-centered qualities. But this generally is something that comes from falling in love with a Venus and Capricorn person, because they convey that as something that they want and as something that they are. And so I hope that makes sense, the way that I've conveyed it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. My name is Dustin Cormier, and this is How to Rock Astrology. I'd love to know what you think. Let me know in the comments if I accurately portrayed the energy of Venus and Capricorn. And stay tuned, because I always got more stuff coming out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.